Okay, up next we have founder demos. Mike from Zapier, which rhymes with happier, is going to show us a little bit of what they've been working on over at Zapier.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike, one of the co-founders of Zapier. Thank you, Sonia and Pat, for inviting me back this year to show something new. 1 year ago, I was here. We were launching our V1 of AI actions on Zapier, an API that sort of translates natural language into executed API calls. And a bit of an update on that. Over the last year, we've executed over 500,000 of those on behalf of our users. And to date, we've been launching tons of other stuff AI related on Zapier. And to date, we've run over 50 million AI tasks on Zapier. If you're not familiar with Zapier, a task is basically something that's completely automated on behalf. It's completely hands-off. We've heard a lot about agents today, and clearly it's happening. In fact, a lot of it's happening right now on Zapier. These are totally 100% automated. A lot of those 50 million tasks are using Zapier Classic. Looks something like this. This is sort of a canvas view, right? This is usually how people set up and build Zaps. Lots of structure. There's a high degree of learning. There's a big learning curve. Lots of configuration, nitty-gritty stuff you got to get right. And as a result, this sort of puts a huge sort of depression on the amount of people who can successfully use and adopt Zapier. So that's what I've been working on the last 6 months. Excited to give you all one of the first public previews of a new product called AI Bots inside of Zapier Central is the name of the product. And this is a sort of ground up reimagining of what we're calling AI automation. Entire goal is to help more people in the world be able to successfully use, figure out, discover, and actually adopt automation using AI. So let's show a demo of this thing. Right now, that probably looks pretty familiar. You know, standard chatbot. You can sort of come in here and say hello, and it will talk back to me. It doesn't do anything right now. This is sort of a blank slate bot. So let's customize it. We're going to build a new behavior. Behaviors are how you sort of customize what these AI bots can do on your behalf. Now, these bots you can customize them to like sort of change the behavior when you talk to them. But I think a more cool thing to show off, something more new and novel, is how to control this bot doing stuff on your behalf in the background, even when you're sort of away from your computer. So I'm going to take a second to type in a quick prompt I have prepared. Maybe I'll do this. All right, so let's do schedule every morning. Get the list of today's meetings on my GCal, summarize, define short, bullets, emojis, send the summary to me in Slack, and we'll do this, add a fun automation-inspired quote at the end. All right, lots of typos, but you all know that's resilient to that. So here we've got the bot starting to suggest how to automate this. So in this case, we're going to use this suggested schedule trigger. It can happen every day, every morning. Let's say, sure, 5 a.m. early riser. And we'll add that as a trigger. And now what we're going to do is we're going to equip this AI bot with a set of available actions. So the way to think about this is you're sort of giving this AI bot permission to act on your behalf and do things in the real world. For this use case, the two that got suggested that are relevant, we're going to do this Google Calendar find event. We want it to be able to find all of the calendar events, and I'm going to actually choose a specific calendar. We'll come back and I'll actually talk a little bit more about this in a minute. We'll add that. And then we want it to be able to send a Slack message. In this case, let's not do channel message. We'll do direct message to me. Got that. And then here, I'm also going to choose a specific value for me in Slack. Or add that, and we're all set. All right, this bot's set up. It's done. I can turn it on and it will work tomorrow morning. But if you're like most users who use Zapier, you like to test things and make sure that they work the way they do. So we'll go ahead and click test behavior. And this is kind of one of the first cool things is we kind of introduced this concept of threading, which is how to kind of group context together for a single task that the bot is doing. I'll try to pull this guy over. Is this legible? I can also zoom in a little bit. There we go. A little more. So there we go. Went ahead and pulled off my calendar. It's giving me a preview of what it's going to retrieve, and that all looks good. So we'll say, yep, that looks good. Go ahead. Now, one of the cool things about this bot while this is sort of processing here is you notice how I sort of picked certain values for the calendar and the Slack. So that's not required. One of the things these bots do out of the box is they will sort of guess everything, right? This takes advantage of a lot of the AI actions technology we built over the last year. Out of the box, they will try to infer and guess and do things completely unprompted, zero shot. However, one of the things we learned from real users is that doesn't always work. Oftentimes you want a degree of control over how the bot actually makes its decisions in order to increase the sort of scope of use cases. I think one interesting thing that I found is like not every user needs that though. There's actually a lot of use cases where you might just say, be fine with sort of these bots, making decisions completely autonomously on your behalf. But there are a lot of use cases, and it sort of opens up the aperture of the amount of use cases you can do if the users can get more deterministic control over how the bot makes decisions and what it does. All right, so it looks like a good calendar event. Sure, let's go ahead and say go. It does like to check in a lot, so that's on our roadmap to tune that down. Other sort of fun surprises I think that we've learned from these AI bots. Frankly, we're still learning a lot about what these bots sort of can do. There's a lot of cool like latent capabilities built in. One that I've seen, I think Andrew mentioned this morning, there's a lot of self-healing capabilities. These are sort of hooked up in those like agentic loops. So we've been able to observe like the bot running into dealing with things that classically would just break Zaps because they're sort of super rigid, right? Like if you had a workflow hooked up to a Google spreadsheet and somebody came in your team and they changed the name of the column in the spreadsheet, classically, like a Zap would just break. It'd be stuck. You'd get an error email. You have to come back and like completely debug it and figure out like, well, what happened here? And you always have to go through the entire learning curve of how to learn automation, how to learn reading structured that canvas view in order to figure it out. And one of the cool things with these natural language systems is they can sort of debug automatically and sort of loop and fix it for you. All right, so this is giving us a preview of the message. Let's take a quick look at that. There are a couple links in here. Those don't actually look quite right though. Those don't look like they're Slack formatted. I think they're rendering nicely, but just from experience, I know that's not the Slack link format. So let's go ahead and tell it to, can you use the Slack message formatting? Let that get done. Oh, here's our automation quote. Automation is like a good cup of coffee. It wakes you up with the possibilities of the day. All right, can you use Slack message formatting? We'll give that one more step and see if this is able to take our feedback, which, by the way, this is also another very important part of what we found from users is they want to give these bots feedback and say, hey, you did this good, you did this bad, here's how to fix it and correct it. One of the cool things is these bots can actually learn from the feedback instructions in order to update how they run in the future. So you can see this one actually choosing to use a tool called updating instructions. So this is gonna take my feedback that I actually gave it, feed it back into the sort of instructions so the next time when this is running live and sort of completely autonomously, it's able to use that instruction to actually work. One other maybe fun bit of trivia, why name these things bots? When we were looking at some of our usage data of Zapier Classic over the last 10 years, one of the major themes that we saw is people tend to call their Zaps bots. Over a million people have named their Zaps with the word bot in it. So we decided to steal that name too. It seemed like a pretty good one. It seems like a very colloquial way to refer to what these systems are. Okay, those links all look much better. That's using the right formatting there. Yep. All right. And the very last step, hopefully, is going to be yes, and go. Can talk a little bit about the roadmap while we're waiting for this one to complete. I think one of the biggest lessons learned we've been getting real feedback from on this stuff is how much consistency and reliability matter for AI automation. One of the big feedback learnings we're seeing is, I think I showed it to you in the thread where we kind of give feedback to the bot natural language. This is one of the biggest sort of themes and trends we're seeing with how users want to interact with these systems is they almost think about these individual bots as their own individualized like training. So the way they give them feedback, when they give them thumbs up, when they give them thumbs down, when they type them feedback, there's a very strong perception that like, hey, I'm sort of making my individual instance of the software significantly better. So that's one of the big things on our roadmap over the next couple weeks is to be able to incorporate and take all of that feedback and actually make these things better online. And there we go. It's sent. Did it show up? Slackbot. Rendered the links a little bit funny, but there we go. Zapier Assistant from 218. Okay, so that is a very quick look. Oh, let's see if I go back to the behavior and pop it open. There we go. So you can see here at the end, use the Slack message formatting summary for sent to the user is that sort of updating process where the bots are able to incorporate feedback right back into their instructions. So that's Zapier AI bots in a nutshell. I think one of the cool things is I just showed a demo with 2 apps on Zapier, but obviously the magic of Zapier is we support, what's the number now? Over 7,000 integrations on Zapier, and Zapier Central works with all 7,000 out of the box. So you can sort of connect any pairwise combination you want, or even have these bots do multiple actions at once. I'm not a fan or believer in waitlists, so this is available today. You can go to central.zapier.com and log in with an existing Zapier account or sign up for a new free Zapier account and give it a go. And excited to see what you all build with Zapier's new AI bots. Thank you.